I access here?
Yes, sir, you can. Yeah. Is it in your WhatsApp? Or you'll send it to Gmail?
WhatsApp it is. One second. WhatsApp. Pointer is there? Pointer.
First, I will just introduce
Yeah, yeah.
and then. A very warm welcome to all our esteemed guests, dignitaries, and participants gathered here today for the second day of 3rd IEEE International Conference. We are honored to have you join us for the keynote address on leveraging 6G and beyond, emerging technologies for Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam by Dr. I. Balakrishna, Joint Director, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. This session will set the tone for our gathering and provide valuable insights. May I now request Dr. Venkatesha K., Professor and HOD, Department of IEEE, to welcome the gathering.
Happy morning. If you want to find the secret of universe, you should think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. Quote by, do you know who is that? Who quoted this statement? Nikola Tesla. He not only invented alternating current, he also invented induction motor, three-phase power, and wireless technology. 2G, 3G, 5G, India is launching 5G, and the talk, even I'm eagerly waiting for the talk of 6G, leveraging the 6G. It is indeed my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all for the day 2 of the IEEE International Conference on Intelligent and Innovative Technologies in Computing, Electrical and Electronics, IITCE 2025. A man devoted to the upliftment of the society and the student and faculty community, a perfectionist and a veteran across multiple domains, who continually inspire us to think and work to international standards. That is none other than our esteemed Secretary, Shri Narayan Rao Armani. Although he is unable to join us in person, we extend a warm welcome to him in absentia for this Day 2 event of IITCE. Great minds don't just accumulate knowledge. They share it, inspire others, and create a lasting impact. Today, we are honored to have such a visionary with us, who I wholeheartedly welcome today the keynote speaker, Dr. I. Balakrishna, Joint Director, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY, Government of India. We welcome you, sir, for this session. A true role model for all of us as a teacher and a progressive thinker. He stands as an inspiration with more than 50 years of teaching experience. Even today, with unmatched dedication, he continues to rush to classes, passionately imparting his sacred knowledge to the students. He always listens patiently to anyone who approaches him, a remarkable quality of a true leader. It is our honor and pleasure to welcome our beloved director, Professor T.J. Ramamurthy, sir, to this occasion. We welcome you, sir. An instantaneous and creative thinker, a true think tank of the organization, who takes firm decisions at the right time, yet remains simple and approachable. He listens to us, advises with the wisdom, and consistently motivates us to excel. He has been instrumental in organizing this two-day international conference, IITCE 2025. It is none other than our esteemed Additional Director and Principal, Dr. S.Y. Kulkarni, sir. We warmly welcome you to this event, sir. A young, energetic, and enthusiastic presence on campus, brimming with innovative ideas and a unique perspective. He constantly inspires creativity and always thinks outside the box. He is none other than Professor Ishwar N. Mane, sir, the esteemed Dean of our college. We heartily welcome you, sir, to this special event as a part of the conference. He will start in few minutes. He is on the way, sir. A distinct academician and administrator, a guidance force in NBA and NAC processes, and a person well versed in every rule and regulations of AICTE and VTU, which he follows diligently without a second thought. He is none other than our esteemed Deputy Director, sir, Dr. Krishnamurthy GN, sir. We warmly welcome you to this event, sir. I wholeheartedly welcome all the delegates who have traveled from 12 states across the country to be part of this prestigious event. I extend a warm welcome to the heads of various programs, esteemed professors, dedicated faculty members, and our enthusiastic IEEE student members. A big round of applause to IEEE student members. We welcome you for this session. A special welcome to my colleagues from the ECE and ICIIE departments, as well as the faculty members of various committees who have contributed their efforts to make this event a grand success. Teamwork truly drives success and growth, and this event is a testament to that spirit. I also extend a warm welcome to the non-teaching staff, press and media representative. We welcome Dean, sir, to this event. I want to read what I read for you, sir, once again. Please consider this. I request the team also. a young, energetic, and enthusiastic presence on campus, brimming with innovative ideas and a unique perspective. He constantly inspires creativity and always thinks outside the box. He is none other than our Professor Ishwar Mane sir, the esteemed dean of this organization. Please welcome, sir. I also extend a warm welcome to the non-teaching staff, press and media representatives, the auditorium maintenance team, and everyone who has directly or indirectly contributed to the success of IITCE 2025. Thank you for all your contributions. Wishing you a great and insightful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and I welcome you as well. I now request Dr. Madhu S., Associate Professor from the Department of IIIE BNMIT, to introduce the keynote speaker to the audience.
Happy morning, all. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. I. Balakrishna, sir, Joint Director, Scientist, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Dr. Balakrishna I is a distinguished scientist and accomplished leader with extensive experience in the field of electronics and information technology, serving as a Joint Director and Scientist in MeitY, Government of India. Dr. Balakrishna holds a doctorate in electronics information technology and has authored numerous research papers published in prestigious journals and conferences. His work reflects a deep commitment to promoting academic and industry collaboration, fostering innovation ecosystems, and nurturing talents in the technology sector. With over 12 years of experience in this role, Dr. Balakrishna has been instrumental in driving policies, projects, and initiatives that have significantly advanced India's digital ecosystem. Dr. Balakrishna has a proven record as a researcher, serving as an editor and reviewer for reputed journals, including the IEEE transaction on antennas and propagation and IEEE antennas and wave propagation letters. He has served as associate editor for various international journals, including IET. He has served as head 4G project manager, Reliance Jio, where he successfully led R&D, network planning, and commissioning for 4G infrastructure in Maharashtra, India. He is a lifetime member for ISTE and INCEE-MIC and IEEE member, professional member of IEEE and IEEE Antennas and Propagation Society. He has delivered guest lectures at prestigious IEEE international and national conferences, contributing to knowledge dissemination in cutting-edge technology fields. A visionary leader, Dr. Balakrishna has been instrumental in driving several national initiatives that align with India's vision of becoming a global technology powerhouse. His expertise spans diverse domains, including digital transformation, e-governance, emerging technologies, and R&D in electronics and IT infrastructure. With a career dedicated to advancing technology for societal benefit, Dr. Balakrishna has played a pivotal role in formulating and implementing policies that support innovation, research, and development in the key areas such as artificial intelligence, IoT, cyber security, and digital skilling. A sought-after speaker and thought leader, Dr. Balakrishna has represented India on various international platforms and has contributed significantly to shaping global dialogues on technology governance, sustainable development, and digital inclusion. For his notable achievements, he has actively contributed to the development of next-generation telecommunication and advanced antenna systems. He is recognized for fostering collaboration between academia, industry, and government agencies. He was a key participant in international forums and conferences representing India and contributing to global technology policy discussion. Dr. Balakrishna's vast expertise, coupled with his leadership and passion for innovation, positions him as an invaluable resource in advancing technological frontiers. We are very privileged to have you here today, sir, as a keynote speaker for this session. His keynote address at this IEEE International Conference will undoubtedly provide profound insights into the future of electronics and IT sector, promising to inspire and provide valuable perspectives on leveraging technology for a brighter future. Sir, we welcome you again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us now acknowledge this occasion with a felicitation to our chief guest, Dr. I. Balakrishna. I request all the dignitaries to felicitate sir. Thank you, sir. It's now time to listen to our chief guest. I request sir to deliver the keynote address.
Still in the morning, your voice level is still very less. Actually, I don't know. I think you, yeah. So since it is the morning, most of the people would have had the breakfast. I had nice breakfast. Still, I take little bit, but I speak more, and I try to continue my conversation without having food also. So that is the God's gift which is given to me. So first of all, I'd like to thank the management, and my special thanks to Dr. Jyoti, ma'am, for inviting me here to be part of this the third international conference, IEEE International Conference. So we met the frequencies based on the geographical conditions for the of various countries. That happens over there, but from the 2020 onwards, the Indian government got a chance to have our own office in India as the second branch of ITU. So since I work for the 5G testbed project as a project director, so I got a chance to travel to Geneva and US for attending the ITU meetings actually. So all of you knowing that the ITU is the ultimate body which decides and fusion the frequency bands of all telecommunications and the wireless communication side. So till 2018, the India is in a slavery mode. Like, since I work for the Reliance Jio, so there I was working on 4G technologies actually. So if you see till 2016, 2006, the US and other countries, they launched their network, 4G network, but for us, when it comes to the India, 2016 around, which means 10 years gap. So each generation, first generation to second, second to third, third to fourth, every generation has a 10 years of gap. So what they consider is India and the India countries is use and throw technology, and we were just using that use technology after 10 years. After 10 years, they will be in other generations actually. But in the case of the 2018 afterwards, and Indian government, first time they invited us to participate in the frequency allocations for the Indian government. So there we could see the real, the agenda and the politics, how they play for allocation of frequency bands. So myself, unfortunately, myself and the Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad and other devotee secretaries and the directors, around 20 members were nominated to travel to the Geneva for attending IT meetings, and a few days we stayed there. And in this regard, I would like to give information about the Indian government got a standard called low mobility large cell in a 5G technology, for a rural area application side. So it's for in a rural areas, generally the mobility of the users are less. So less number of users will be there. So the sub-gigahertz band, less than 1 gigahertz band is allocated for it actually. So, but we planned and we have demonstrated the technology for 5G. Low mobility large cell can be used for the cities also. But the problem with the low mobility large cell for the manufacturers is the range coverage using LMLC is 40 kilometers radius. You can give a coverage of 20 to 30 base stations. But if they, but as per the 5G standards, there are 3 frequency bands allocated. One is frequency range 1 and 2. And this is sub-gigahertz. So sub-gigahertz is a low mobility large cell. So sub-gigahertz, every 3 to 4 kilometers, 50 to 60 base stations need to be installed. So if I suggest from our side, you need not to use, suppose if I want to cover a 40 kilometers of radius of city, so how many number of base stations and the business which they are going to get it, Ericsson, Huawei, ZTE, and IBM, and Sprint Technologies and AS Technologies. There were business people, so they opposed, it is kind of fusioning the frequency bands is based on the voting system, like the way we do in elections actually. Similarly, it happens as there. So the number of voting happens over there, based on that they'll accept it, otherwise reject it. So we struggled to make that as a standard, and initially they opposed it, and they later on we said, okay, our minister says and the secretary said, better not to use it for the cities like FR1 and FR2 frequency ranges. So it can be used for the rural area application side, because they says if we start using this low mobility large cell LMLC as a standard, and we will not sell more number of base stations and the towers. Our idea is that we try to reduce as maximum as possible the EM radiations. That is our motto actually, and that is a good technology. But still they opposed it, and later on, after 10 days, we were there for 15 days. We convinced many of the people. We tried our the way the politicians follow in India, but it didn't work there actually. So somehow we brought down our specifications, only it will be useful for rural application side. So here again we brought it in that way, is that because again we have to convince the government also, because we took that idea as the international standard with all frequency ranges. You need not to use the frequency range 1 and 2. So, but this LMLC standard is used where the suppose the user is traveling from the one city to another city, you find a lot of villages in between actually. So, but you don't get a same experience, coverage and other things in a 5G and all. So, to satisfy the requirement of the user who is using in a city, and he is traveling one place to another place, then there is a one option we introduced this. We suggested that this technology can be used it for the bridge between the one city to another city in between the villages. And another demand is also gets satisfied, the requirement of rural people also. So tomorrow, our minister, when he was Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad was there, he used to say, tomorrow if I go and ask the vote, they may ask the question that only the city people will be voting you and we don't vote it. So to satisfy their requirement also, it may be useful in that way actually. So now similarly, the low mobility large cell was is made as a international standard like the IEEE. So those who are using the LMLC is this thing, all the loyalties and other benefits will come to the Indian government. So the motto of 5G testbed, most of the people are having a opinion that the 5G technology in India initiated by DOT, Department of Telecommunication, is not a network deployment. It is a test bed. Like the network deployment is vast, it is very big, it is kind of an ocean. And the Indian government started the research in the 3 years before, but the telecom operators and the telecom manufacturers are from past 30 years they are in the industry, so we cannot compete it with the network deployment also. So testbed is a like kind of a environment where you can generally, for suppose if a mobile manufacturer wants to release his mobile into the market, he needs the certifications like CE marking and FCC marking and all. So for releasing in the market, he has to get the certification from various agencies. Before that, he has to get evaluated his device. So for that, the mobile manufacturers and the electronics manufacturers are traveling around the countries, because they all, for releasing the one mobile, there are 70 to 80 tests need to be carried away. So all tests cannot be in one place, because it is a instrument setups and the laboratory setup is too costly. So each few tests will be there in one country. So the manufacturer used to travel around the world and get all reports and submit it to the certification agency, and then he will wait for the certificate to come, then he will release in the market. That is a general scenario. And this is expensive actually. So traveling and then getting certification, bribing them, and then this is a big process. So instead of that, the Indian government from side, the DOT side, we thought, why don't we have a one-stop solution actually? We get a permission from the FCC and CE marking. We do the hand over the device to the testbed team, and we do the performance evaluation of your device. Then if it is within the limit, then we'll issue a certificate to them, then they can release in the market. That is the main agenda of 5G testbed. And there are 5 testbeds are installed there in India. One is in IIC Bangalore, is also one 5G testbed is there. Another is in IIT Madras, IIT Kanpur, and IIT Delhi and Bombay and Hyderabad. So this was the main motto of 5G testbed actually. So like that, and through that 5G testbed concept, at least the money flow from the various countries, because always Indian government and Indian services are very cheap and best actually. So most of our Indians are there in the most of the companies in foreign, like US, NASA and other fellows. 50% of employees are the Indians. So if Indian government invite them saying that we'll give few crores to you, come to India, means then US and NASA will be shut down more. So and most of the concepts, startup concepts is before 2018 we could count the number of startups or the companies, MSMEs in India. But after 2018, after Corona, this has been changed in a different way. To the ultimate agenda of this startup is to retain the human resources, maximum human resources. Most of the people are studying in reputed colleges and the universities, and they are flying to other country and doing service to the other country. So that was the scenario. So if the government supports in a financial way or other factors, then definitely the maximum number of the people or human resource will be retained in the country. That is the main agenda of the semiconductor mission is one, and the 5G, the 6G and the telecommunication side, and as well as the some of the funding agencies in IDEX, Innovation for Defense Excellence, is through that the seed funds of 10 crores will be allocated for each idea. So earlier days, before 2018, if I am correct, you may be having an idea, but you don't know if you implement or develop a product and you don't know who is the end user. So generally for funding, the sponsoring agency will be asking the question called, so okay, you may be developing a beautiful product, and then who is going to use the product, and who is the end user? And the companies are asking that, sponsor is asking that, get me end user certificate. But getting end user certificate is not so easy. So now through the IDEX, Innovation for Defense Excellence, is run by Ministry of Defense, and they themselves are giving a problem statements to you, and they themselves are giving end users also. And your duty is only to build a product, make it qualify, bring it in a form of prototype, and then supply it. That is the main the vision and the agenda of the scheme. So coming to the topic, today my talk is on leveraging the 6G and beyond for emerging technologies for the self-reliance India and the Vasudeva Kutumbam. It is a very old sentence. Vasudeva Kutumbam is a Sanskrit word, and brought by the Honorable Prime Minister actually, to make the one earth and one technology. So coming to the 6G, the capabilities, using a 6G technology, we can achieve the maximum of 1 Tbps of data and latency of less than 1 microseconds, and with a seamless connectivity. And second is the intelligence and the automation side, like integrated with the AI. 6G will enable a smart adaptive networks that cater to specific applications. So, and the huge connectivity, like using this technologies like a terahertz communications. So 6G will connect to the urban centers and the rural areas, some kind of underwater systems, and the other space industries also. So the vision of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, building the self-reliance India, is by the indigenous R&Ds in telecommunication side, like promoting the domestic development of 6G infrastructures in semiconductors and network devices to reduce dependency on the imports actually. So our team work for the Shakti missile and the BrahMos missile. So most of these devices the systems are with the chips. So the Indian, we used to import most of the chips from the foreign countries actually. After the corona, they stopped supplying the chips, and they are telling some stories that it takes some time, and of 1 year of supply time. And because we have proved that BrahMos missile is a successful mission, and it is 250 kilometers range, and now we are working towards the Drona missile. So they thought, okay, if we supply the chips to the Indian people, then they'll be almost into the parallel to us. So that was their motto and agenda of it. So under that only the semiconductor mission, the semiconductor manufacturing, design and development schemes have been introduced in the ministry, our ministry actually. So encouraging the partnerships with between the government institutions and startups related to the academia for fostering the innovations actually. And second thing is in smart agriculture and rural empowerment. So utilizing the 6G enabled IoT devices and sensors for precision agriculture and crop monitoring and water managements. The third was in industrial automation in Industry 4.0 and 5.0. for empowering the MSMEs with 6G, smart manufacturing and robotics, and digital twins of cost optimizing and enhanced productivity actually. So the fourth one is the green technologies and sustainability. So the how the Vasudeva Kutumbam is like enabling the global harmony is by global connectivity and the collaborative research development among the various institutions and startups and other factors nationally and internationally in a disaster management side and digital diplomacy also. So there are a few key enabling technologies which is with the help of 6G is one is artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things and blockchains and the quantum computing and in satellite and space-based systems. So these are the few key enabling technologies for making the India to be a self-reliant country. So till now, there are a few problems, challenges which our Indian government is facing it, like the dependency on the import systems in terms of the critical technologies like chips, and lack of the skilled manpower or workforce in advanced technologies, and cyber security is another challenge. So the solution for it is so incentives for indigenous tech development, like indigenous developments and skills programs introduced by the government, and robust policies for digital security and data privacies. So the few key steps to make the India to be a self-reliant is promote indigenous innovations through Make in India initiatives. So encourage adoption of new technologies in public-private partnerships, PPPs. Then by strengthening the collaboration among academia, industry and the government. So ultimately the vision of the Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. So the future India is in digital empowerment and self-reliance and global leaderships. Like the ultimate dream and goal of the semiconductor mission is whatever the chips we develop and manufacture in India, we'll be using it for our use cases, and remaining things will be exported to the other countries. The ultimate goal of the semiconductor mission is that so India to be a third largest exporter in chip designs and the supply chains. So most of the people are aware of that human life, in a general life before the internet, people are there in the house, in a small houses with kids and the entire family. So this is I just remember this picture actually. So because I feel very bad the current situation using the technology. People are telling that technology gives the lot of advantages, but it has huge disadvantages also. There is the professor Girish Kumar from IIT Bombay and myself, we have done some kind of analysis and electromagnetic radiations, how it is affecting the human beings as well as the creatures. So that will be shown in the next slides actually. So this is the technology evaluation from the first generation or zero generations to the current generation. Zero generation is nothing but a landline, and the first generation is the mobile phone with a weight of 1.5 kgs of size, and then the second generation. In the first generation, you'll have a voice communication. In the second generation, we'll have in addition to the voice communication, some of the text messages and all. And third, you have making the device to be a compact. Like still I remember the 2G phone is the CDMA phones introduced by Arcom, and the Nokia. Still I remember my phone. I started using the mobile phone called 1100 Nokia actually. So yeah, I think what kind of observations you observe from the Nokia, the previous generations in the year of 1990s, and if you see the same Nokia mobile phone, the quality difference you can see that Even you throw it into the, I used to, throw my mobile phone if I get anger and throw it on a wall, but still nothing happens to that. If you throw similar mobiles to now in the condition, so can it sustain? So that is the, quality wise it is getting coming down. And the generations to generation, in third generation, the smart mobile phones is introduced with the reducing the size, making this device to be a compact. In fourth generation, it is again the net browsing with the high speed and making further compact or the thinner and thinner. And 5G is again another factor called adding the high speed data rates actually. And 6G, using a 6G technologies, since frequency ranges is higher and the device is kind of a paper. It's kind of a paper, so you'll be having a thin sheet and you'll be carrying that thin sheet in your pocket. And that is how the 6G is in, because the frequency operation is in terahertz frequencies actually. When frequency is higher, my bandwidth is higher, so automatically the other factors will be comes into the picture. So this is the basic difference between 5G and 6G in terms of data rates and the reliability and latency. The 6G is much better. These are all theoretical values actually. So till now, even in foreign countries, using 5G 100 Mbps is maximum which is achieved. So promised is 1 Gbps data is the promised thing, and still unfortunately, if you see the 4G, initially when Jio was introduced free Bs or free of cost networks, initially people used to get 100 Mbps, 200 Mbps, and sometimes 500 Mbps also. Now the same Jio, the network is not changed, the infrastructure is same, but the speed, how much you are getting? Hardly 1 Mbps. So I was the chairman for the committee decided for the freebies. Initially we planned for 6 months and later on extended to 1 year, because we need to make the user to be addicted to the technology, then switch over from the Airtel to the Jio. Since I was representing Jio, so we planned in that way actually. So it is a kind of a business more. And moreover, the other factor I had a bad opinion on the Airtel is that he's looting the Indian people not to have access of technology to the common public. So one call is 3 rupees. So can a normal or middle class or low class fellows can have access of technology? No. So that made me to take that arrogant decisions like give it a free of cost. But that time the frequency band purchase itself 50,000 crores is gone for the government, but the remaining 50,000 crores for a 1 year maintenance of network, employee salaries and all, 50,000 crores. Around total 1 lakh crores was invested by the Jio. But initially the financial advisor of Mukesh Ambani told, this is not feasible, don't take this kind of decisions. See, if you don't take this kind of decisions, Arcom has made a revolution actually. See, everything is happening with the Ambani's family. So Arcom was introduced, CDMA was, everybody can have their own mobile phones. And similarly, the Reliance Communication was also got into the picture, and then somehow they have taken a decision to release that amount. And it was made the ultimate idea is that grab all customers from Airtel, then giving a freebies. Generally in India it happens. If you tell that quality product with 10 rupees and nobody will come to you and buy you. And if you say it is free of cost and you just take this, use it for some days, and if you are okay, then you buy another one. So people will definitely, freebies always works in India actually. So that was the logic which is there. And billions of customers, they have came into the field. Initially data rate was very high because the limited number of customers were there. But now the customers are increased, the bandwidth is reduced for each bandwidth allocation for each and every user is limited now. So the data rate is almost automatically the speed will automatically comes down. So nobody understand initially the way in Tirupati also, you remember, if you are, most of the people would have gone to the Tirupati. There are beautiful temples in the Tamil Nadu, but no temple has this kind of such a nasty kind of environment they are making, like storing the people in a small room, like putting into the Similarly, see, in a Sri Rangam, if you see, there are 45,000 to 50,000 devotees are taking the darshan and going every day. But still there is no rooms, nothing is there. So how people are coming to Tirupati from various places throughout the country and outside the country also. Because how it is made, it is a kind of a free marketing. Like, if you store in a room and release in a at a time, one time, and then put it in a small row, then people will feel that some kind of a maza, like, hitting somebody and telling something, some stories, spending there for 12 hours, 24 hours. That same fellow will go. I asked the same questions to one fellow. I was a special investigation officer there, appointed there because a lot of issues were there, allegations are in the TTD. So I've represented there. I stayed there for 10 days. There I asked a person from North India. They are coming there, most of the people, and I asked them, why you came here to have a darshan of Tirupati Balaji or what? He said, yeah, that is one part. The other part is that this environment and other things are very nice, and people told me that it is huge crowd is there, 24 hours you need to stay there. It's kind of a entertainment. So that was the person, same fellow went to his village or the nearby place, and he introduced and told that this is the situation. Not obviously we'll also get the interest to go there. So similarly, this was the freebies was worked out actually. Initially, people told and thought that okay, high speed we are getting it actually, so we'll switch over to the Geo. Then automatically people started switching over it. Once they switched over it, the bandwidth is automatically allocated to each and every user. They don't bother, right? They don't bother about because they don't know what is happening there with the speed and other things. Now the BSNL is up now from 3G to 4G. They are upgrading it. Now people are shifting from Geo to BSNL because the half of the rate. Now 400 rupees per month is recharged for 2.5 GB per day. Airtel and Jio is charging. For BSNL it is 200 rupees. Whereas 50% is reduced. They are upgrading the systems. So here the generations to generation is one factor is the frequency, bandwidth allocated for the generations is higher for generations to generations. For 6G it is terahertz range, it is operating it with 1 gigahertz of bandwidth. So with that, the data rates will be automatically very high. And the other shortcome is the coverage is very less because the frequency is higher. So earlier you have seen that the life before the internet was because I dreamed in that way actually. But after when you see the technology is, this is how the technology making separation. Even people are there in the one family, but still they are communicating through a technology. It may be good, but the human relationships are, human bondings are getting, separated. Like, still, see if the person, wife and husband or the kids wants to go for the dinner or the lunch or something like that, they are sending a message in WhatsApp saying that I'm going to lunch, you come. But still, nearby they're sitting there, they don't communicate physically. And the technology is making a advancement in the various sites, but technology sometimes makes the laziness. Like if you see the IoTs, there are hotels are there, like using a smart homes. Like if you make a noise, automatically switch on the lights and the AC fan, and using Alexa is another thing is there, which means the body movement is getting stopped because the physical movement is required for the body. Otherwise we always become a lazy, and then we'll lazy to have a lot of diseases, and then we'll start blaming somebody. That is the technology. It has one side, the plus, and another side is, I feel it is 70% is minus and the 30% is plus, but still. So without the only option is that stop using mobile phone. If I say stop using mobile phone, it is very difficult. Even if I say don't eat, without eating food they can survive their life for 1 or 2 days or 10 days, but without mobile phone they cannot go out or step out of the room. So this is the telecommunication network architecture to show that generally so the user A wants to communicate with the user B, even though they are very near to that, the communication will not happen directly from A to B directly. So it goes through a process. Is the cellular A wants to communicate with the cellular B, he has to search for nearby mobile tower. Then again it search for the mobile switching station. Then mobile switching station will search for another nearby the mobile tower. Then it gets connected to the cellular B. So this is how the process happens there. So here this is in elaborate way. So you have a base station controller, base station transceiver, mobile switching center. You have a data network where the user authentication is stored, database is stored there. According to that, they will the network will scan for it, and then okay, this user is here with the mobile number and the names and other things will be matched there. Accordingly, it will connect to the nearby the tower, and that is how the communication happens from one point to another point in a seconds. This is a big process, but it happens in a very short span of time. So as I said, why do we need a 5G generally? So 4G, 3G, this is all, Professor Girish Kumar, he used to say, we don't need Gs. Enough, the 0G or 1G is sufficient. But that is true, but the reason is that increasing the number of users, the demands from the number of users, which requires higher the bandwidth. So for providing a higher data and the low latency to minimize the drawbacks of the 4G. So one factor is that this is channel capacity is not decides the data rates or the throughputs and all. So one option is that increase the transmitting power. So increasing transmitting power, you cannot have you cannot have a control on you, because there is a limitation for transmitting power. The telecom operators, as they wish, they cannot increase the transmitted power. The 50 watts of power can be transmitted from each tower. But in India, that scenario is not happening because proper monitoring agency is not there. And if you go to the foreign countries, in US I have seen, in Japan also I have seen, the street lights are installed with the power sensors. So each and every minute the database will goes to the monitoring agency, and they'll be getting alert. If the power is increased with the not 1 watts, automatically the information will go to the operator, says that it is a alert. 1 time and 2 time and 3rd time they'll seize their company. So which means huge business loss. But in India it is not so, because it is a so crowded country. So one funny moment was happened that one of my student, he says, sir, I was not having a proper signal strength, and I called a customer care and says that they asked me 5 minutes. In 5 minutes I got a full signal strength. How? That is once they give instructions to the customer care, their customer care will pass the information to the operator, because they don't want to lose the customer, because we'll start scolding them, right? So you are charging 400 rupees per month and you are not giving proper service, that too in a city. Center of the city, the signal strength is very, a little less because of the huge buildings and high-rise buildings and other factors are there. So which means there is no power control monitoring agencies are proper managed. Still there Wireless Propagation Commission is meant for the power management, the monitoring agency it is. But still they don't, most of the sometimes now if they go to that particular place, if somebody gives the complaint, once they go there till that time they'll reduce the power. So that was the, our Indians does the same scenario. So to escape that, in a foreign countries they have the proper setup actually. The rules and regulations are different from the country. So the power is, you don't have a control. Only the specified power can be transmitted from the system requirements and all. But we have a control of bandwidth. So other option is that by if you want to increase the channel bandwidth, then automatically the data rate and the speed, everything will comes up. So if you see the channel bandwidth for the 3rd generation is 5 megahertz, and the 4th generation is 20 megahertz. And 5G we have 3 frequency ranges. As I said, LMLC is sub gigahertz with the 20 megahertz of band, and where the 4G bandwidth is there. And for FR1 frequency range 1 is 100 megahertz. It's operating at less than 6 gigahertz, so it's 3.5 gigahertz. And a millimeter wave frequency is FR2. So see the bandwidth increased from 3rd generations to 4th and 5th. There is huge difference is there in the bandwidth allocation, because number of customers are more, so accommodating in a limited bandwidth is little difficult. So the other option is that increase the bandwidth so to satisfy the requirements and demands of the various customers. So this picture is to show the how earlier the 4G technology will have is continuous radiation in a particular sector. Suppose if it is a 60 degrees sector, the continuous radiation will be there. If the user's there or not, it doesn't even care. Its continuous radiation will be there. So user is there, then he will be utilizing the network, and if it is he is not there, then automatically the power wastage and huge electromagnetic radiation in the space. So where the 5G comes into the picture, using a beamforming technology, based on the user requirement. Suppose if I want to make a call, then based on my request, automatically the individual beam will be generated to that particular user. Once that user is okay, then if he disconnects the call, automatically beam will be switched off. That is how the beamforming concepts happens. But based on the acknowledgements, generally the network gets the acknowledgement from the end user. The end user will send information to the tower, then a beam will be generated there. So the power wastage and the electromagnetic radiations little reduced. I'm not saying that it is completely evaporated. So this is how the 4G, if you see the latency is one factor, this is 10 milliseconds, and for using 5G, less than 1 milliseconds is promised there. Because my bandwidth is, spectrum allocation is very higher the bandwidth, so my automatically the peak data rate will be higher than in the particular bandwidth, the number of connections are can be accommodated in that particular band. So these are the three frequency bands, as I said, sub-gigahertz, FR1 and FR2. It is, and for low band is called sub-gigahertz for rural area application side, and mid band is for metro cities, and for millimeter wave is for the dense areas application side. So low band is for expected data rate is 100 Mbps for giving a larger coverage, high penetrations, because the frequency is lower. Penetration of electromagnetic waves will be very easy. And mid band is expected data rate is 1 Gbps up to 1 Gbps. But for using a high band is millimeter wave frequency band, is a maximum of 10 Gbps with a low range. And this is a medium range using a mid band. So this is the, if you go to the comparison of radio networks compared to the 4G and 5G, this is the network architecture over there. So typical 4G network architecture has, this is a pole, and these are the antennas and the radios and the baseband units, and you have the server. And these are all connected through a fiber optic cable. But when you see the typical 5G radio unit infrastructure, and all except your core network, the server, everything will be shifted onto the tower. It's called radio unit. It's combining baseband unit and radio remote heads. Combining together is called the radio unit with integrated antenna systems. It looks like that. Finally, ultimately, when you are making these things clubbed together in a one factor or one box, the size of the weight of the device should not be more, because the pole it has its own limitations actually. So you cannot give hundreds of kgs. So to cover 360 degrees coverage, you need a lightweight and compact systems. So to meet the requirements of the 5G. So here the designer challenges here is antennas and the RF related basebands. Engineers has a challenge of making a system to be compact and lightweight. So when you talk about see the mobile phones, if you take the 3G third generation mobile phone and the current 4G or 5G mobile phones, the thickness of your mobile phone is reduced, making it compact. When you make a compact, then definitely you have a other problem called thermal issues. So when you are making in a compact, then automatically the heat dissipation is another major factor actually. So for that there are many telecom operators, they failed to do that, and they have installed the network, and finally the base station got burned because they didn't address properly of the thermal issues. Thermal issues is more dangerous actually. So maybe you maybe experience that when you are using a mobile phone like this, and after using 5 minutes, your hand will be burning like anything. And if you take the similarly, if you have a 3G phone and see that there is a huge difference is there when you are making the device to be a compact, and automatically the thermal issues is very major impact it is showing there. So the 5G, how these are the few most prominent key factors which makes 5Gs to be possible. Is one is millimeter wave, and making a larger cells to a smaller cells using a massive MIMO and beamforming technologies. So this is massive MIMO concepts for higher frequencies like millimeter wave frequency ranges, for shorter ranges like in a crowded environment, satisfying each and every users. If I use it lower frequency band of 20 megahertz or 100 megahertz, I may not satisfy all the users who are there. So the option is that using a massive MIMO concepts in a millimeter wave frequencies with a higher bandwidth. So this kind of scenarios will be possible over there. And this is the scenario of the massive MIMO. Generally for the rural area sites, the users, limited number of users will be there, so the motion and the mobility of the users will be very less, slow mobility will be there. So the array of antennas is clubbed together, two number of antennas clubbed together to form a single beams and all. And but in a cities kind of with low densely urban areas, so there the few number of array of antennas are clubbed together to form a n number of beams. But whereas in stadiums, highly crowded places, the multiple number of beams to be generated to satisfy the demands of all the users over there. So the beamforming is a concept for giving a coverage of deep coverage with a completely in a three-dimensional manners actually. So if you see the 5G massive MIMO technology is with tiny antennas working together to send the data. So like older networks, it sends the in a particular sector continuous radiations will be there, but using a 5G technology in using a beamforming concepts, the individual focused beam will be generated to a particular user to give a coverage to each and every user and in an efficient manner. So this is the another way to explain about it. So this is the previous generations, 4th generation technology. The smaller number of arrays are made it there to form a single beam, and this is for making n number of elements to form a sharp beam, like pencil kind of beams to have a longer coverage, and this is for shorter coverage. So using a massive MIMO technologies, so if you see, this is the picture. This is for the previous generation. If the let us take the two users are there, and my range is limited, then these two users will not have the proper signal over there. But still signals will be there, but the signal strength will be very less. They cannot communicate, or they cannot have access of data and other factors. But using the beamforming concepts, beamforming technology, automatically by generating individual beams with the pencil kind of beams, then the coverage automatically it comes to the both users. But when you see the figure like this, suppose these three users are there in between the two base stations. Using the previous generation, the 4th generation technology, this single beam will be generated there, and from this the beam will be generated here, and from the other tower the beam will be generated over here. So this is the intersection point, the interference zone. So there the signal which comes here and this signal gets interfered there, and then the problem comes is called the crosstalks. You would have experienced that when you are talking with your colleagues or friends and somebody's voice is, you will be hearing, but they don't hear even you say hello also, they don't respond. So that is called the crosstalks. Crosstalks is basically comes with the problem of the intersection of both the beams are merged in a common area. This is how it happens. But using a MIMO and a massive MIMO technology and beamforming technology, so the interference problem and the crosstalks will be reduced, and the power emissions from the base stations also reduced. So this is what it was there using a 3D beamforming, like you can generate the multiple number of beams, and it goes in a very deeper and deeper way, because the gain of your beam will be very higher, and gives a range will be very high because of the high gain and the systems are there. So the beamforming are in a three factors. One is in analog beamforming, and digital beamforming, and hybrid beamforming. In 5G, the hybrid beamforming concept is used. In a 4G and 3G, is analog beamforming is used. In analog beamforming, you'll have so one transmitting receiving chain will be there. So there you'll have a lot of DACs and transmit receiver chains and the power amplifiers. So this is for the it is good for the shorter distance, but it is limited to one user and one beam will be generated over there. But using a beamforming type of digital beamforming, you'll have a multiple number of transmitters and receivers, and so that you will be generating multiple number of beams. But it is costly. It is it's not a cost this thing. So multiple number of, because of the multiple RF chains are there. So the complexity is one factor and the cost is another factor actually. So to compromise that, the hybrid beamforming, combination of analog and digital beamforming, will gives the better solution for the beamforming, generating the individual number of beams to satisfy the requirements of the each and every users. So it has the benefits of beamforming is it reduces the interference, because you will be generating individual beams to individual users, and efficient power usage will be there because continuous radiation and transmission is not there, and the high data rate is possible there, and so by generating the individual beams, the enhancement in the coverage is possible over there. So it has a limitations also. One factor is higher the cost compared to the analog and digital beamforming, and the complexity in terms of setup is a little complexer, and the signal processing is another the major factor over there, because n number of beams are coming to the user. So this is the scenario of the conventional base stations. This is to show how the tower looks like and how many number of antennas were there, and this each and every antennas are with a different telecom operators actually. And this is the camouflage tower, which is used in a VIP areas, like not to have a kind of a experience that some some obstacle is installed in your house, like minister's house and the VIP areas and all. They like this kind of a scenario. This artificial tower, so it looks like it is an artificial tree made up of plastic materials, plastic and other materials. So this is another conventional camouflage towers, and this is as I said, this is the 5G smart base stations actually. So street lights are used as the base stations for 5G in millimeter wave frequencies, where researchers are not leaving this small space also. So this same street light is used as the base station for millimeter wave frequencies. So this is the antennas which is installed inside in between the top and bottom. The LED lights are in between. You have the base station is installed there. So these are all another camouflage towers, and this is the scenario, as I said, for various application side, high-rise buildings and the low-rise buildings and the rural application side. Based on the application, we need to make the array to be how many number of elements to be make it, so that my beam will be broader in elevation and azimuthal coverages and all. So this is the product which we built it under the 5G testbed project. So this is the ultimate base station, entirely clubbing together baseband systems and radio remote heads, and the antennas are clubbed together in a box. And it is a weight of most of the weight comes from the heat sink actually. So most of the chips are dissipating huge amount of heat. So to address that, we have made initially as one basic fundamental heat sink, and that weight comes around 50 to 55 kgs. But my entire system weight is 10 kgs. So now people are addressing, and we are addressing how to reduce your better heat sinks. Now recently when we had a meeting with the Tanzania project, so the person from US, he has better solution. Actually I was really impressed using a nanotechnology, nanomaterials he says I can dissipate heat, and my entire heat sink size is around 2 to 3 mm size. I don't know how he's going. So beautiful a design he has shown to me. I said, just demonstrate it so that now we'll introduce to the various companies and the government also, so that you'll get funds. So maybe we'll be using that. You remove this heat sink, and we'll be using that nano material, composite materials to reduce the thermal, address the thermal issues and all. So this is how the various developments of antennas and the base stations for various frequencies and ranges. And coming to the 6G, as I said, the frequency range and the bandwidth is higher. So to satisfy the demands of peak data rate is 1 Tbps of data. These are all theoretical values. So and the latency is less than 0.01 or 0.1 milliseconds. Latency is kind of a delay between, suppose the user, suppose in a medical application side, the doctor wants to do a surgery for heart patient. If a doctor is not available in hospital, if he is available in home, in Japan they have demonstrated using the 5G and 6G technology also. Doctor is sitting in a home, he wearing the robotic arms, and the patient is in hospital. So if doctor moves the hand in a left and right, accordingly it has to move there in the very fast way. That is, if a doctor is moving in left and the delay, because of the delay, if it moves with a very slowly to the heart, then definitely it is a risky process actually. So the latency plays a major role in a health sectors and all. So because my frequencies bandwidth is higher, so thousands of devices in a meter cube areas can be possible. So the traffic capacity will be increased 10,000 compared to the 5G, and increasing the energy efficiency, because my system size is becoming smaller and smaller, so the energy is little energy will be consumed. So automatically the energy efficiency comes into the picture. But only the range will be in a very shorter range around kind of a 1 meter or 2 meters range actually you'll get it. Like Wi-Fi hotspot or the similar way. So what will the 6G technology brings to us is one is the spectrum and the using artificial intelligence in healthcare and infrastructure and the privacy factors. So the requirements for the 6G wireless technology is to provide extremely high data rates and the extreme low latency capacity compared to the 5G, and extreme coverage and extremely high reliability and low energy and low cost devices, and extremely massive connectivity with the available bandwidth. So this is how from generations to generations various start from first generations to the sixth generations, and the 6G will be getting installed or deployed in the year of 2030. So the advantages of the 6G is it supports highest number of mobile connections because my bandwidth is higher. So it supports higher data rates and the kind of independent frequencies, and coverage will be large number of users can be satisfied there. And there are a few disadvantages. Every technology has advantages and disadvantages. So it is difficult to use in a longer range actually, and expensive also, because now at present it is making a chip for that frequency, terahertz frequency range is too expensive, and the privacy is another factor, because n number of connections are established in a particular sector. So this is the scenario. As I said, generations to generations, each generation will have this many years of gap to come into the real world. So this is the frequency band allocation for 5G and 6G. So 5G will have millimeter wave frequencies up to 6 gigahertz, and in 6G it is a centric band called FR3 band, and sub-terahertz frequency range is used for the 6G. The 6G frequency ranges are not frozen yet, but still going on. So 6G is having is possible with the concept called intelligent reflecting surfaces. Suppose any electromagnetic waves falls on a wall or any kind of objects, definitely it will reflect back. For low frequency, it penetrates through the wall or these things, building. But for high frequencies, my frequency is higher, my wavelength is smaller and smaller. So once it hits any kind of objects, then automatically it gets attenuated, it will not reflect back. So generally, using intelligent reflecting surfaces, like it's the surface itself is intelligent. How it is made is that generally when electromagnetic waves reflects from the any kind of objects, generally it reflects back to the source or the diffract and scatter there. But here, the user, if this user wants to communicate with this the tower or another user, if any tree is there in between there, using a 6G, it is a little difficult. So use the intelligent reflecting surfaces. The electromagnetic waves once it falls on this kind of surface, and it gives the reflected signal with enhance the signal strength, as well as it gives the signals with a 0 degrees phase. So user should receive the signal with which is transmitted phase and received phase should be same. Then only you will get a proper data rate and the voice communications happens properly. So that is called, so by now how it happens is by adjusting the amplitude and phases of this reflected structure. Is beam forming and beam steering and signal enhancement and signal strength will be increased. So this is another concept of 6G to be made, like OAM generations, like an arbitrary angular moment. It is how it functions is generally for any data transmission, only the single channel will be used, and suppose if it is 1 Gbps of data to be transferred, the one channel will be used for, suppose if my bandwidth is limited to 50 Mbps or 500 Mbps, then I have to transmit serially, not parallelly. But using this OAM, in this 0 phase you will be, suppose 10 Gbps of or 4 Gbps of data is there. In this 0 phase you will be sending the 1 Gbps of data, and the another angle, like using a different phases. Each phase is acting as each channel, but the physical channel is single, but the virtual channels are multiple number of channels, and through that the throughput and other will be increased. So using artificial intelligence and other things. So this is another concept. It is used for the 5th generation fighter aircraft of defense, advanced medium aircraft, which is building by the Indian government. So it is called a radiation blockage reductions. Most of the movies you would have seen that optical clocking, like in movies, the head will be cut and then the body is there and it is dancing. And I used to surprise that, how if head is cut, then everything is gone. But using an optical communication, optical technology, optical clocking, they used to cut that area, and then they'll make this kind of invisibility, and then other things will be visible there. So in a RF side, radio frequency side, the signal side, making the object is there, but still for radar, enemy radar, not to track him or make that object is invisible, that is using a RF clocking is for the stealth technology application side. So if you see the scenario of this thing, so this is a complete transmission is there is no objects are present in front of it. And this is the case where kind of metal objects are kept it in front of your transmitters. Then the amount of energy which is coming over here is very, very less. And the energy which is reflecting back is more. But using a RF clocking, this clocking material, this is the metal, cylinders are there. So when you keep the metal cylinders without this RF clocking material, this is the scenario. But when you use this structure, the RF clocking structure, the amount of energy which is coming out of the transmitter is almost equal to this. So this is used for, this concept is used for the AMCA, advanced medium aircraft, where most of for making the aircraft to be low RCS. RCS is major factor which detects, most of the reflections comes from based on our studies and masking studies and all, the reflections comes from these areas actually. So if we print this kind of onto the body of the aircraft, then automatically my RCS will comes down. So the stealth technology is used, we try to use it in submarines also, INS Vikrant and all. And this is another applications of signal intelligence and systems for hilly terrain and high altitude areas for various applications. This is one of the problem statement which is given by the IDEX platform side. So this is the another application of nano drones, like in a kind of a mosquito type. So it is used for medical and defense application side. So it has a needle and syringe, and the beauty of this nano drone is that generally drones have a limitation with the battery, but it has a battery, but it generates its own energy by the movement of the wings. Automatically it gets recharged. So where the human access is less, like kind of a Ladakh kind of places where human cannot go and have proper access of it. Now currently they are using the eagle to destroy the drones and other things. But if you use this kind of nano drones there, and these are the antennas. The legs are acting as antennas. This is battery and the syringe and other factors for the, it has a high definition camera over here. Throughout 360 degrees it gives the coverage and sends back to the ground station, and automatically based on that the ground station will take the proper action over there. So till now we have seen the products which is developed under the telecommunication side, but previously the all telecom operators used to physically go for installation of the selection of the tower, where to install and how to install. So sometimes they may or may not have a proper place to install the towers, and that is the reason we used to say that I am not getting a signal, my house is not properly connected to your base station. It's a problem of optimization of tower. So earlier it is a cost, heavy cost they used to produce, give it for the doing research for use their vehicle and go into the streets and then monitor the power levels in each and every longitude and latitude areas. But now few softwares are there to do that, need not to go physically. Assign the take the database from the Google. These are the buildings. This is the Google map picture. These are the buildings where there. The base station sites are 1 and 2 and 3 are there. So use this the software and assign what is the height of the tower if you want to use it, and then allocate the standards, wireless standards over there. Through that you can monitor what is my data rate, where it is blocking, which building is blocking, and where to optimize my tower. This is what during my Geo time I used to travel. We used to take the bus and then we'll be traveling there and we'll be monitoring which location is suitable for the tower installation. But it is very easy, like monitor your signal strength, signal quality and data rate, where it is blocking and all. So as I said, the crosstalks comes from the isolation point of view. Channel to channel, adjacent channel interference creates your crosstalks. If my channel having a highly isolated between the two channels, even though two channels are nearby, that decides your isolation factor. If isolation is very higher and lower comparison, we have done it, there the crosstalk factor was reduced compared to the low isolation factors. So, and we have done some of the simulations for a Tiruvannamalai sector recently. The Jyoti Prajwala has happened in December 13th, I think so. Because of the landsliding, they could not do properly. So they approached us, and last year there are 10 lakhs of devotees there. No network function, every mobile network got jammed. Nobody able to communicate with each other. So they said, okay, why don't we have a private the LTE network for it to satisfy their requirements. So we have taken a geographical location from the Google, and the tower is kept it on a hill, and we have simulated the scenarios. So these are the blockage areas, and we suggested them, and this time we have used the private LTE network over there. These are the the coverage holes are the blockage areas, you can say. So coming to the IoT, Internet of Things, it is the scenario of connecting the physical and the virtual worlds with billions of devices in a common platform. So there the problem comes is security is one factor and complexity is another factor. The privacy and the security will be a major drawback of the IoT. And using IoT, this is one application of smart parking in foreign countries, not an Indian scenario. This is the foreign scenario. Actually, Indian scenario, anybody can park on the center of the road and go. If you ask, then they'll say, okay, it's my road and my place, and this is my country. It is a democratic country. So that is what we speak. But in foreign countries, there is no such rules. The rules are very stringent and strict. They have to book the slots before reaching the particular place. So this is another use case of IoT in a waste management system in a smart cities. Like, you know, this is how the smart city is called. So all the equipments are the factors are dustbins, are the street lights, and the vehicle, everything is connected through the common platform cloud network using IoT devices. So that it is easy to make the city to be clean, and that is called the smart cities. So this is another factor of application of the IoT. You know, so if the customer is, the farmer is having hundreds of thousands of cow for a dairy factory, each and every, suppose if he has 1 or 2 or 3 cows, he can physically and go, how are you and all, he can say and just test it and give some kind of medicine. If he has hundreds of cows, he cannot have access. So using IoT monitoring device, which is installed anywhere in the body of the cow, automatically the customer or the farmer will comes to know each and every factor and the health condition, how much it is giving milk production, other factors. So accordingly, the particular number, he will go physically and just give the medication and come back. That is the use case. But it has another drawback also. The health condition of the cow, because of this IoT device, because it is radiating again. So the technology, as I said, the technology has plus and minus. So farmer doesn't bother about the health condition of the cow. He bothers about the milk production. That's all. So that is how, that is not correct actually, in my view. So this is another application of smart shopping and all. This is another application of IoT thought control computing devices. Like, you know, you wear that device, and based on your thought, you will operate your systems. And here, and if you see how much radiation is happening throughout your body and head. And this is in a smart agriculture side to monitor the moisture level and other factors of for a farmer. So till now we have seen a lot of advantages of technology, and people used to talk about the technologies making advancement in various factors. But now we will be seeing the real factor of how it is affecting in other ways. So this research we have done, myself and Professor Girish Kumar from IIT Bombay, and with a few other scientists, we have done the research because we are worried about the health condition of it. But he asked me, he said, they don't work for the 5G and 6G and all. Said, sir, since I am a government servant, then I have no other go to do. One option is that I have to resign and go somewhere, or else. So Girish Kumar, he has not involved there, but we have done some kind of research over there how the electromagnetic radiations are affecting the common life. So these are this picture is to show what are the RF sources are there. The amount of power which is transmitting and coming out of the tower. And most of the houses will have mobile phones and the cell phone towers nearby their houses, and Wi-Fi will have, Wi-Fi routers in your house. See the amount of power, 10 milliwatts, around 10 watts of power which is coming out of this thing. And 20 watts of power, this is 20 is given, but 40, 50 watts of power will be transmitted from each tower, cell tower. A mobile phone will have 1 watts of power which is coming out of this thing based on the generations. Like GSM will have, if you take 2 watts, and the GSM 1800 is 1 watt, because once frequency is higher, my coverage is smaller and the power transmission is a little smaller. People ask me, so you are telling that 4G itself is having thousands of base stations, but 5G, if you take the thousands and thousands of base stations, so there huge radiations will be there, right? But compared to the 4G, the radiations comes out of the 5G is little lesser. You can see it here. The amount of 900 megahertz is GSM band for 2G, and this is for 3G. It is the amount of power is half of the power is reduced, but still the radiation is there. Radiation is there. You cannot escape from the radiations. So this is a scenario in every house you may be having it, right? So this is how the all devices are radiating in your entire, room. So this is the mobile phone, and the radiation comes from the edges of your mobile phone. That is the reason when you are holding your mobile phone for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and while talking there, you will have a burning sensation in this edges, not in the back. So as I said, the thought control device. This is the thought control device. How this is the energy levels. These are colors indicates the energy levels. How much energy is getting, boiling your, the parts of your brain and other factors. So, so for all mobile phones, manufacturers will sell with the SAR, specific absorption ratio. If my SAR is high, means it's cheap and best quality. People used to say, but Chinese products will have a SAR value of high because cheap items, like cheap components, they'll use it, which generates huge amount of heat. But when you take the high, low SAR value, you'll have a better, less heat dissipation comes out of it. So most of the people are experienced with this scenarios, using mobile phone in hand, using the phone in this way, and phone in this way. So if you see this first generation mobile phone is, the size of mobile phone is this, and for the current generation will have a size of around 5 mm or 4 and 3 mm size. See what way this is impacting on age to age. From lower age for kids, it is huge impact is there on the brain and compared to the adults. And this is the thermal radiations, how it is happening there in your brain. And before using mobile phone is this, but still the radiation is there because of the other radiation which is coming from the other towers. And when you use mobile phone for 15 to 20 minutes, then this is the scenario. This is how the red color is high intensity, huge radiations, and it is getting boiled like anything. Sometimes, when you keep your mobile phone for 5 minutes, automatically the area will starts burning it actually. So only the option is that you need to cover your mobile phone, so either switch it off or put it in a flight mode or wrap it with a metal sheet. But in practically this is not possible. This is only the ultimate solution, but it is in practical this is not the option actually. So when you see the pollution is, this is called in automobile industry you'll have a air pollution, and similarly the radiation is again a kind of a pollution only. So for automobile industry it has a substitution and option is there, like CNG, electrical, but whereas in the mobile industry doesn't have any other substitutions. If I switch off a base station for all telecom operators, then we'll die, because we need to, every time we need to communicate or we need to browse any kind of videos and other things actually. So these are the few common things, like it is integrated in a part of the every life actually. So automobile creates its air pollution, but the cell phones will have a tower radiation pollutions actually. So, and similarly another industry is called cigarette industry. So at least cigarette industry side, if person is smoking, at least you can see the the smoke, and they say that you can stop. But for a cell phone radiations there is no other go. Only thing is that people used to may think that okay, I can shift my house to another place, still the radiation is there in the other place also. Wherever you are, the radiations are there. So there is no, because you cannot see that, you cannot smell it, and the possibilities are not there. Only the option is that switch off the base stations and the towers, then automatically solution will be there, but that is practically the difficulties are there. So this is our observations that generally every person has the fancy items like earbuds, neck bands, and the smart watches. These are all fancy items. Fancy items always kills your health, like fast foods compared to the normal foods. So it has its own plus and minuses. So everybody has this scenarios. So better to have a kind of wide connections. And another thing we have observed that when you are making a call, generally have a habit of call. When you're making a call, you just keep your mobile phone immediately onto your ears. So my suggestion is not to put directly, because why I'm saying that, we have seen that the power level, which is when you are making a call, huge amount of power will be coming out of your mobile to establish a connection to the nearby base station. Once the other user who is accepting your call, then my power level comes down to the 70 to 80% comes down. So if you keep your mobile phone immediately, then automatically you'll have a burning sensation in your ears and these things. But after accepting the third party, then if you keep it there, still radiation will be there, but less, very, very less compared to the other way. Generally we'll have a habit of it actually. Generally make a call and immediately keep your mobile phone there. So this is the advice, but I follow this thing actually. After 12 o'clock, I'll not use my mobile phone. I'll keep it in another bedroom, or I'll keep it in a flight mode. If even it is emergency, if I feel that it is emergency today, then I'll keep it in another room with a lot huge sound and volume with a small speaker is connected with that, so that I can hear that. Still, the radiation will be there from other sources also, but at least from my surroundings, I'm just trying to avoid that. So these are the few technologies till now: antenna on PCB, antenna in a package, and antenna on a chip. Chip itself is having all systems: RF, the baseband system, the radio remote heads, and the antennas clubbed together in coming in a very small form factor. Yeah, it's all. So these are the research areas, and as I told, in a semiconductor industry side, there are few 1.5 lakhs of crores was allocated for the semiconductor design and manufacturing. So this is how the year by year the requirement of chips are getting increased with various schemes. So the motto of this the semiconductor mission is to empower or train the manpower in a semiconductor side. So these are some of the semiconductor laboratories in India in various institutions. So as I was telling you that IDEX is the platform where you will get the funds, and you can see it here. Up to 10 crores, the seed money will be given, and there will be, if you go to the IDEX challenges, you will find the number of problem statements with the end users. So the government itself is providing all most of the defense and the Air Force and other the companies. So they will be giving the problem statements, and then our duty is to develop the products and qualify in a airworthy tests and all. So you can go to the idex.gov.in and see the problem statements. So you can apply as an individual, need not to have a company, or you need not to go through your college or your it need not to be a MNC company or something like that. It's, as an individual also you can apply, only the idea is important. So in a conclusion, so next generation technology is mainly the main factor or the key technologies for achieving the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So with this, I conclude my session. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got some information. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Thank you so much. So if you have questions, please. And if you have an interest to do research or any kind of funding related activities or the projects things, this is my mail ID. I think it is gone. This is my mail ID actually. You can drop me a mail based on your these things. isleavath32@gmail.com. So I'll yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, sir, rather I would say it was a wonderful experience. You have given a wonderful information about 5G and 6G. Advice also. Yes, sir. And what a wonderful experience. And you have told us the advantages and disadvantages. As an academician, how we can contribute for such kind of technology to help you to grow more and to do more research. So would you please let us know so that we can also work in hand? Yes. That is all I would. Yeah, we will. Yeah. You can drop me a mail so that I'll as maximum things I can do. I can connect you with the higher officials. And one more thing actually, in the next week we will be traveling to the Tanzania. So there are 5,000 crores is getting, they are investing on the technology development side, 5G, 6G and all. Tanzania government is ready to invest that. So for that, we will be going for reviewing their activity, because they have seen that indigenous development, how quality and how worthy, because we are almost equal to the world. So they believed us in our technology. They said, we want to take your technology to our country. So that is the thing. So if the funds comes, then definitely automatically because my motto is that I don't want to make the people to get bored, because the students are daily life, they will be getting all, from the faculty, which is there in the books actually. So I don't want that kind of scenarios actually. What industry, generally the faculties nowadays they are teaching in an industry point of view, because that is only the required for them. So during my education time, I felt that whatever I study, it may come in my real life. But once I joined in the industry, my subjects and the study is different, my work is different. I cannot even correlate also. So that is how the faculties and the professors should teach in their industry requirement point of view. So I heard, I mean, as per my knowledge, the BNMIT has a good kind of exposure that way. The industry, academia, the collaboration side, and then teaching in an industry point of view. So that gives the some kind of a vision and the interest towards the industry. Ultimately, getting degree, people used to say, what I'll do with my degree. After getting job, they're feeling that, okay, certificates are thrown in a corner. Later on, even, see, nowadays the companies are not bothered about your percentages. The companies mostly bothered about your IP levels, what is your concepts and the products. Olden days, IIT, so-called IITs and NITs and all, nobody is respected now. Only the knowledge is respected. So that is how we just try to give it to the students, so that the next generation will have a better future actually. So at least now every country eye is on India, because India is 70% population is young generation. But somehow they destroyed with the coronavirus. But there is no other go. Yeah, thank you.
They say, let's race ahead and begin our journey towards self-reliant India. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful session. Any questions or queries we shall discuss off the dais. I now request Professor T.J. Ramamurthy, sir, Dr. S.Y. Kulkarni, sir, and Dr. Krishnamurthy G.N., sir, to please hand over a token of gratitude to Balakrishna, sir. We have now come to the end of the program. I now request Dr. Rekha P., Professor, Department of EC, BNMIT, to deliver the vote of thanks.
With an exhaustive and thought-provoking keynote lecture delivered by Dr. Balakrishna, I will be presenting vote of thanks at the speed of 10G. It is my privilege to extend heartfelt thanks to Dr. Balakrishna for his inspiring and thought-provoking keynote address on day 2 of the 3rd IEEE International Conference, ICIITCEE-2025. Thank you very much, sir. That was fantastic. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Navellaru Vande, we are all one. Trying to reach the last mile of rural India with all the facilities trying to be created by the Government of India. Hats off to all your initiatives. Thank you. And I would like to also thank our management, our director, Professor T.J. Yes, sir. I would like to thank all the dignitaries of BNMIT present here and all the audience and the organizing committee. Thank you all.
Thank you, one and all. We shall now break for tea.